Top of the morning to you. Did that come off? Did that come off English or Irish? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I really have an accent, but top of the morning.
You tried, but no, it didn't have the same ring to it. But that's okay. You're working on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm working it. I'm not working on it, but either way, good morning, happy Thursday. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler inside the game here on the National Soccer Network. I am live in our Shelby Township studios. You, sir, are live in your living room.
I call it my studio, but it's not quite put together yet. I still have boxes laying around from when I built the shelf back behind me, so we gotta really put it together. But it's a studio. I got foam paneling on the wall, so it counts. What's up, Peter?
So,
Happy Thursday.
What are gentlemen drinking this morning? So for me, I have my nice coffee in my Ember cup here. Ember constantly keeps it warm for me, which if anyone drinks coffee knows it gets cold, and I don't want to put things in a microwave because we don't have a microwave. So that's one. And then over here to my side, I've got my nice water. So yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
I also got water too, Peter. I also got coffee, but I got the broke ass coffee. It's called instant coffee. It's where you just put really hot water and then you just dump in like a little, and then you mix it up, and then there you go. It's just, it doesn't look appeasing, but it hits you like a brick, and so that's why I do it. It hits it. It comes with a fist, and I need that at 8 a.m. So, anyways, yes.
I'm having a big mug of Timmy's. Well, that is just as bad as broke ass coffee, as far as I'm concerned.
What is Timmy's?
Tim Hortons.
Oh, don't disrespect Tim Hortons like that.
I have to.
Come on.
Tim Hortons is not good.
Yeah,
I've never had it. Hey, okay, I'll take that back. Tim Hortons and their Timbits. Those are money.
That's okay. I'll give you that.
Okay. But the coffee, I'm sorry, not good.
You get
now if they want to sponsor our network, I'm not going to stop them, but their coffee not good.
You can't trash talk them and then expect them to sponsor us. Come on. No, hey, you get 42 ounces for the price of like 12 ounces at Starbucks. So I mean, it might not be the greatest.
There's a reason why, man.
Well, it still tastes good.
Let me ask you a question. If you're getting more than the next place by almost triple, and the price is not that much higher than the smaller ounces, what do you think you're getting in your cup?
It's placebo effect, JT. It's the placebo effect, okay? I believe it's just as much. So that's all it, you know. That's the whole game right here.
If you were to sit here and tell me what are the top coffee like baristas, I would put Big B above Starbucks as far as I think higher quality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I Starbucks is right there. At least in my opinion.
Just tastes burnt sometimes. I don't know, man. You know, it tastes like it's like the coffee, but like, you know, it has a little crisp to it. I don't get it. You know, I don't know if I think they intentionally like do something with their coffee beans. I think that's on purpose. But no, Big B's. I love me those lattes. They got those custom lattes with those weird names. I always feel uncomfortable going through there and be like, "Hey, can I have a nutty buddy, please?" Peter, getting a lot more loving.
I don't know what that means.
We are? Okay. Well, I love you. You love me.
And Tim's for bang for the buck.
That's like
again,
Starbucks is bougie coffee. Same way
with
DoorDash. DoorDash is for bougie. Well, not DoorDash. Uber Eats is for bougie people.
Well,
DoorDash is for regular people. You know, regular.
It's actually pronounced Dior Deshay. Excuse me. Yeah, we're talking soccer today here on the National Soccer Network. The first 5 minutes of the show, we're talking about coffee and how good or bad it is. It is a morning show, so why not get into the coffee conversation to an extent? I mean, we use a Keurig that we make our fresh cup of coffee, every single morning. I think Peter's saying bigger ounce cups for more loving. Fair enough. Yeah, if you want to have a 64-ounce coffee cup of coffee, then by all means, it's half of what your intake should be for water for the entire day is in one coffee cup. But good for you guys. But with that being said, Diving into today's show, it is Thursday. We're 5 minutes into this thing, and the first 5 minutes is gone. We'll never get it back. Not sure what we've talked about this, but yesterday we celebrated 60 episodes. And it was cool, right? When I say celebrated, it was just our 60th episode. We didn't really do anything special or anything along those lines, but we spent a lot of time talking about fans. And without fans, sports in general would not exist, right? And so, and when you start talking about the different sports around this country, fans specifically, how they're involved, the markets that have the strongest fan bases also have the stronger viewership, right? In a lot of cases, we'll look, for example, we'll look out into the West Coast. Okay, where are the biggest markets for basketball, football, and baseball? Well, those are all in Los Angeles, right, on the West Coast, right? LA has like 30 teams. I don't know where they all play these games and how they have the space. If you wonder why there's no water in California, it's because it's all going into water in the grass fields at these.
Yeah.
You got the LA Rams. You got the LA Chargers. You probably play the exact same stadium. And they spend most of the week literally re-rubbing and repainting the turf. It's insanity to me. I almost feel like they should just roll out a new turf field. Just, what's that, $1 million? Just roll that in and out, maybe. I don't know if that's even a thing, but why not? You've got the LA Dodgers. Anaheim Angels, right? Anaheim Angels, those are still a thing, right? I think they're still a thing. We just talked the entire state of California. You've got the San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres. If I'm missing it, Oakland A's used to be. Now they're moving to Las Vegas. Great.
Sacramento right now.
Yeah, Sacramento.
No one cares.
Sacramento Kings, right? I mean, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the LA Lakers, the LA Clippers. I mean, the LA Kings, LA Galaxy. You got the LA. Is it LA United? LAFC.
Galaxy.
No, there's the Galaxy, but then there's LA. Now there's LAFC.
Oh, there is. I didn't even think about. Yeah, you're right. True. Yeah, there are two of them. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Then you go down into the San Diego. There's a brand new San Diego MLS team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least 15 professional teams in California.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? So logically, you're going to have a pretty strong fan base in California for all things sports. New York, you get the New York Jets, New York Giants, right? New York Yankees, New York Mets, New York Rangers, New York Knicks. You just. New Jersey, I was like the Brooklyn, which they changed their name, right? It used to be not Brooklyn or something else. Wasn't it New Jersey something? Wasn't it back?
It was the New Jersey. Well, if you're talking about the Nets, yeah, it used to be the New Jersey Nets, but now it's the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, so they moved. So it's I can go on and on, right? But then you look at this and say, okay, well, Green Bay's got like a population of like 10, all right? And the Green Bay Packers are the most storied football team in the country. You can argue about America's team being the Dallas Cowboys. That's a crock of shit. They're not America's team anymore. They have been America's team since the 90s, even though they still get the credit to be America's teams. You know what I mean?
They're America's teams because, the amount of people that watch their stuff and consume their stuff, like their fan base is still massive. But
I know, I get it. I'm not trying to
accomplishment-wise, you're right. No, you're 100% right.
Well, I just don't think that the people across this country are still rooting all things Cowboys.
No.
I don't think it's been that way for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But be it as it may, Green Bay Packers, small market, and they have, to be fair, they aren't America's team, but they are pretty damn close to it because everybody in America knows who Green Bay is, what they're all about. And again, it's a population of like 10. They don't, they have Lambeau Field and I think IHOP. I think it's all I got in that city. So, it's like, it's like, there's like not much you can do there other than go watch a football game. And
it's like Nebraska whenever they have a football game. I think the population triples there whenever they have, literally triples. They sell the place out, but it's nothing but rolling cornfields outside of that stadium, but they fill it out.
That they do. And the reason I bring this up is, as we talk about the growth of soccer in this country and what is coming here this summer with the Club World Cup and then what's coming here next summer with the FIFA World Cup. The reality is that this is the time, like right now, over the next 16 to 22 months, is the time to capture all the fans who quite aren't sure they're fans yet, right? There are a ton of people out there who will get excited about the World Cup because it's here. They'll be intrigued by it. They're probably fans of other sports, and it's here in the U.S., so they're gonna partake. They might go to the bars and watch some games. They might actually purchase some tickets. But how do you take that fan and convert them into a local UPSL, local Midwest Premier League, local WPSL, local whatever league fan? How do you do that? What can teams do right now around this country to capture that audience, to capture that fan? What can you do? I'll tell you right now what I would do. Our team would be hosting those types of events. You know what I mean? If I got a game on a Saturday during the World Cup next year, you know what I'm doing? I'm bringing in some big event producing company that has like freaking 800 screen, size, like blow up screens. And I'm playing that World Cup games, on the other side of the field while the game's happening. And on the other side, there's these big screen TVs, right? Boom. Big screen blow up, whatever you want to call it. Now fans are watching your game while also watching the World Cup, right? Like a huge watch party. Things like that. If you can do something like that next summer, I can guarantee you those people are going to come back for more. And so what if it's 10? If it's 20? Those 10 or 20 will turn into, they'll buy into what you're doing.
Right.
Get your local restaurants and bars that you're currently partnering with, get them to be a part of this process. That's how you capitalize on the World Cup if you're these teams. Because if you're right now, I can tell you right now, if you're talking about competing against that, good luck. You're going to compete against the World Cup. If you're talking about the fan who's got something to do on a Saturday night or Saturday, and keep in mind, World Cup here is at Eastern Standard Time. So these games are going to be taking place during normal hours. This isn't going to be like when it was over there in Dubai, right, or over across in the Middle East, right, where you've got the games happening at 2:00 in the morning, 10 a.m., and like whatever early. That's not going to happen this time. These games are going to take place during prime time environments. They're going to be happening at 1:00 through 9:00 at night every single game, and that's when you play your games. So if you're telling me the average soccer fan who knows you have a game, they're going to leave their house and go watch your game, maybe watch it on their phone, maybe.
Yeah.
But the hardcore soccer fan who's not a fan of what you do, they aren't going to be there. And they might never, ever come, even if there was a watch party. But I'll tell you this right now. If you're telling me that I can go watch a live soccer game, but at the same time enjoy the World Cup in that way I just described, I'd go. I would totally go. But you've got to find a way to capture that audience. And that's going to be the biggest challenge here next summer. So I would implore these local teams to figure out how to do that.
Yes. The hardest thing we talked about it yesterday, is making the center, making the stadium, making the site that you play at a destination. You do that through your marketing department. You do that through crowdsourcing and finding out what exactly it is that people are interested in. There's no bigger tournament in the world than the World Cup. There's nothing bigger than that. The only thing that popularity-wise is bigger than the World Cup is the esports gaming World Cup. And even then, I don't know if that's the same anymore. That bubble's kind of burst now, so I don't know if they're putting up the same numbers that they used to. But outside of that, the World Cup itself is the biggest event in the world. And so when I say the world, I even mean here in the U.S. too. And so these, like I said, people love what they know. I talked about that yesterday on the show, but it's not necessarily just the team itself playing in that stadium. It's the destination itself. If you can make it a destination, people are going to continue to come back. Now, you run risks, and obviously in the stadium that I do majority of my minor league games, it's not just the sports, right? You think of, they have birthday bash there, right? So there have been some legends who have come to that stadium. You get Toby Keith and Kid Rock back when he was cool and relevant, as well as some other names across the celebrity world. But you get them. You also get other things, other promotional stuff. We've had watch parties for games, as you're just talking about. You got to make it a destination. But for the World Cup, you're right. You have to. That is your big selling ticket if you're in the U.S. And again, what we talked about, and Steve was kind of the first to jump on the comment train here and kind of double down on what exactly it was. And I'm saying this provides them an affordable option to feel as if they are participating in something that makes them a part of the World Cup in one way or the other without having to spend the money to actually go attend games. Because I can only imagine what the price tag would be to actually travel and go and see these games. I mean, one of them, let alone every single one of them. So being able to do that and just literally just go down the road and see the games at your local park and also be around friends and other people that you know, that is a great way of starting. But it has to start in the marketing department. Like, that has to be the biggest push. And yeah, get involved in the community, get businesses involved. There's obviously the sales aspect to it too, but that's kind of the hard thing. And I think about all the different soccer teams that we do have, and it is interesting, even around me, like there's 2 high levels, actually more than that, high level soccer teams. I'm going to be covering a couple of them here, in the next month or so. It's, I don't know. Sometimes I think about how much relevant marketing and social media outreach and anything that they actually do to get their names in front of people. I don't know much. I haven't heard much. I've known a couple of people that have played for these teams. Outside of that, though, there's not a ton of that going on. And maybe it's because, either number one, they're not playing in their own facility, which I understand. If they're playing in a high school stadium or another place where it's not their own, that's one thing. But, how do you find new ways to get people to know, where you are and what you do? And then you're right, on the other end, coming up with marketing ploys to get people to come in. That's the hard thing, right? So yes, you have to capitalize on the popularity of the World Cup. That's step one.
No, it is. And then the second aspect of this, the second step of this process is, once they're there, how do you keep them coming back? Right now, there are components to that. One, obviously, is being successful. Right. So if your team is getting beaten up every night, it's going to be hard to get fans to want to come watch that. Right. I mean, people want to be around winning. And obviously, that's not always possible. So keeping in mind that winning and losing, while there may be a difference in that, there is something to be said about playing competitively where you end up losing, right? And, being competitive. So not just like, well, hey, we lost last night 2-1 in stoppage time versus we lost last night 6-2, right? There's a difference between those two. Losing is still losing. But a fan can rally around a team that loses by 1 goal consistently because they're close. But right. You can't consistently be losing games 6-1, 5-0, and expect teams to be happy with that. You know what I mean? And expect fans to be happy with that, because they're not, right? So that's one component, success on the field or a lack of success. The other one is we talked about was the environment, right? And obviously, the World Cup, getting them there and getting them to watch the game while you're there will help bring an audience in that maybe otherwise wouldn't come. But how do you get the audience to come back? It's no different than when you walk into a restaurant, okay? When I walk into a restaurant and I sit down at a table, and everyone's no different than this regard. What do? You sit on the table. There's usually something on the table that tells you a story about that restaurant. It could only be the condiments, to be fair. It could be a table tent, right? It could be the menu, right? I'm there. So how do you get me back? Think about that for a second. How many restaurants do you walk into today that give you an incentive to come back? I can't think of a lot. You know what I mean? If I was a server at a restaurant, or if I was an owner of a restaurant, I'd be telling my servers to walk up to every table and say, hey, is this your first time here? It is? That's great news. Great news. Thank you for coming in. First, our appetizers on us today. I'll give you our appetizer, whatever that might is. Let's just, whatever that is, offer them appetizer, right? And then by the way, here is a coupon or a discount for a free dessert the next time you come in, right? Now, and it expires in 2 weeks.
I want to come to your restaurant. I like this. I like this.
You know
Keep
what I mean?
going. Yeah.
What does it do? Well, one is immediately they see value in the fact that you're brand new, right? But then we're also saying that I'm giving value for you to come back. Now you're saying I'm going to lose money on those first two. Yeah, you're right. Probably am. I'm probably going to lose some money on those first two tables. But if we do our job right as a team, they're going to come back in 2 weeks, right? We're going to come back in 2 weeks. They're going to come back again. And that third visit, which is not something I gave my discounts on, I will start making money. And then thereafter, I'll make money on every time they come in. I'll offer them an incentive program to come back, as often as possible. Give them free drinks and free appetizers by, using points to get to that pinnacle of free, because everybody in this world wants something for free. What are you offering these fans? What are you doing? Are you offering them, an opportunity, to be a fan, right? On the ticket, what does the ticket say? Does the ticket say, hey, you get a free scarf or a discount on a scarf or a discount on this or a discount on that, right? I know that nobody wants to discount things, but it's the world we live in.
Right.
I mean, it's the world we live in. What are we all looking for when we go shopping? We're looking to save money on something. Where's the coupon at? Where's the discount at? So why would I want to be shying away from that? You know what I mean? I get it, but they're in your building. They're in your building. Yeah. They've made it there. What are you going to do to get them to come back? Right. What are you going to do? And it's at the gate when someone walks in. At the gate when someone walks in the door, you hey, is your first time here? Oh my God, yes. Oh my gosh, ding, 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 first time, and then hey, you gotta go talk to our first time hosts, and let them know why you're here, and then you give them a scarf. You make them feel like they're part of something. That's how you keep people coming back. It's discounts, it's excitement around the fact that they're brand new, and really kind of owning that. And if you can do that, those are the components I believe will make you successful in bringing back fans once they've come to one of your events.
The best minor league teams, regardless of sport, regardless of area, regardless of anything else like that, the best ones try to have some sort of personal relationship with the people who continue to come back. And the one thing that I'll say is that the great ones that I've seen are the ones that do that the best. Because when you take care of the people that are closest to you, when you take care of the people, that one solid group, again, you talked about, it could be 20, it could be 25, it could be 10, it could be 15 people. And when you take care of that group, everything else within that organization builds off of that, because you develop a reputation as a place that takes the experience side of it seriously. The product on the field matters. All of that matters. A competitive team matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. And I'll touch on the other thing that I think is really important about when we talk about soccer teams and new high-level teams in these areas. There's another on-field component, I think, to this. But you're right, JT. It doesn't have to be anything massive. You don't have to be best friends with every single person, But the very simple thing of making the fans seem seen, making them feel involved, making them feel as if they get something out of it. And, even when it comes to, getting them to come back, it could be something as little as if they win tonight, with your ticket voucher, you get this or that, a free chicken sandwich from
the only problem with that is that it's taking you someplace else. And I agree with you. I like those things are great. But if
I would hope they're a sponsor in that case.
Well, yes, they are. Yeah, but they are. But I mean, like them going to Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't help you. You know what I mean? As much as it does, it doesn't. What I mean by that, it does. It's association, but it's not. If you, again, regardless whether you have a ticket or not, those things are great, but they don't necessarily bring people back, right? They don't necessarily bring them back because not everybody likes chicken shit.
Right?
No, I don't.
But they got a reward for coming out, though.
Yeah,
like it's Pavlov's. It's like you got rewarded for doing something good. All you came up with, what I understand what you're saying, but I guess that's just one little thing that came to my mind. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
How do you keep them around? Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
again, I don't want to like say that that's not a good thing. I mean, the reason they're doing that is to give their sponsors, people to walk in the door to their sponsors.
Right.
That's not intended for them to come to the game. It's intended for when they're at the game to then take them to their sponsor, and the sponsor has to, whatever. So we and again, I to not belabor this process, or to say one thing works and one thing doesn't. I don't want to do that. I'm just saying that if they're going someplace else after the game, now if they're at that location, right, and when they get their free chicken sandwich, right, and they get their large Coke, whatever, and then they hand them the receipt, and on that receipt is a discount on future tickets to games, then yes, that works.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
That would work, right? Or here's your coupon for a free 10, free ticket or whatever the my case to go back to a game, right? Start the whole process all over again. I can guarantee you that's probably not happening in most cases, right? You're not getting something back when here's your, this constant giving here back and forth, right? Because again, Major League Baseball teams, your professional football teams, these professional teams, they have partnered with a sponsor who's given them money. It's probably a significant amount. And in turn, they are on the back of their tickets putting a coupon that then you win, you go get a free chicken sandwich. Great. I can almost guarantee you that they're not giving them a receipt to go back to the baseball stadium. The baseball team has done this, or the professional team has done this in order to help satisfy a direct impact to the business that has already sponsored them. Right. So in our like lower level land, you can't afford to direct people to go get a free sandwich and then not find a way to entice them to come back to your environment. So you have to do that. Again, I would argue there's great incentives to get people to come to games. Family environment, right? Having youth clubs come to your games. Being the walk out with the players and being ball people, right? All that kind of stuff, jazzing it up, having face painting, things like that, right? Having themes. Themes are always a great way of drawing in crowds, right? Having country night, where you have country music and everyone can wear cowboy hats and whatever else. You've got the kind of like the awareness type nights where you've got cancer awareness, maybe you got autism awareness, you've got Pride Month in June, right? So you've got these different events that can be around awareness, which ultimately can turn into, people coming out because of that. You have to really kind of be aware of those types of things. Military appreciation night, right? Like those things will drive in people, which will be enticed to want to come be a part. I keep saying you've got to turn your games into a rock concert. I mean, you got to, go find the local band who is trying to break it out in the world, break out, right? If you go out and try and get like the band that's already done it, that's great. And then that's going to cost you some money. But if you could have them, again, take the same idea, but like across the pitch or in the end zone, and have them just literally rocking it out all night long. You know what I mean? Even if they're during game, that doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't matter at all. And I mean, obviously, you have to be careful how loud it can be, but I rock it out, man. Like you're going to a rock concert. People can watch the game and hear great music. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And your promotional
live music,
right? Right. And your promotional crew has to be good too, and that's the other aspect of this. And I think if teams are lacking that, again, it's just hard to inspire people to come back. You have to have a good promo crew. You have to have people with high energy around the building that are willing to do that little extra to just get people interested. That's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people just go out to watch a game, but there is that aspect that you have to have good fan engagement. That is centerfold in the minor league market. Good, small, big, indifferent, doesn't matter. Fan engagement has to be there. The other thing that I'll say, and I don't know if we've really touched on this a whole lot, this is more of an on-field thing, but it would also be nice, these teams trying to highlight, as much regional talent as they can. I think that's the other aspect of this too, is that sometimes when you're watching a team maybe with, sometimes with players that are from, different parts of the world and from all over the place, and maybe a coach that isn't from here. Not saying that that's a bad thing. Again, I'll never talk bad about the diversity of the sport, because I do think it's what makes it wonderful. I think there are people from all over the globe that play the sport. But the one thing that I think is great, and I think it's what generates that, maybe that local push or that desire to actually come out and watch the games, is picking up guys in the regional area, guys or girls that play in that region, that are going to come out and be able to put a good product on the field. Because you talk about generating interest from people in that area. Again, what do they know? They know some of those people. Maybe they used to play for this club or that high school or whatever it is, or this college. And so those would be good pickups, because again, it would kind of create that community feel a little bit more when you talk about starting up soccer teams in these areas. So I think that might be a prime opportunity in order to, again, get people interested and more invested, focusing on getting more regional talent. That could be a good place to start.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Peter brings up a great point. One, he mentioned same things when it comes to gas stations having rewards, 3 cents off per gallon, etc. And then, of course, you got my local minor league team has a dinner special for families of 4, $60. Here's my thing, though. There are family of 5s out there. There are. I mean,
right.
It's not, I don't, it's crazy because when you think about going on trips, on vacations as a family, hotels will say you can only fit 4 in a room. So now you got to buy another room to get the 5th person to fit in the room. Or you got to lie. I only got 4. Which doesn't work in places like Disney World, Universal. Which doesn't work in places like Universal, Disney World, because then you need to have the extra armband, for so you can't like scoot around that at all. So then you're forced to get a suite or forced to get a bigger room, right? Why can't they just build rooms that seat, that can handle up to 6, and it's the same price for a 4 or for a 6? I'm that pisses me off, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't it be for a family of 5? I got 5 in my family.
There might be a family of 7.
Our condo association has this rule that no more than 4 people from your household can be in the pool at one time. So if
the
you
Turner
have
family
5 people, we can't go all swimming together as a family, right?
Right.
And our condo association, God love the people in charge, but they are all retired and had nothing better to do but then sit at the pool and literally count how many people from your family show up. And then if all 5 of you enter the pool, we'll send you a notice. Right? So I go to Buffalo Wild Wings now. Anything over 4 people is considered a party. So when I go there with my family, I am officially a party.
Woo!
And I have to pay the 20% or the 18% guaranteed gratuity. I always laugh at the Buffalo Wild Wings person, because I'm like, hey, I go, you're going to want to get screwed in the 2%, because I normally at least tip 20. And out of just pure and utter anger, I only allow the 18% because I have been qualified now as a party. So it's like, I'm sorry, Peter, you just struck a nerve there, man. Like I don't understand. It's like, party of 5.
I didn't realize that he opened a can of worms with that one.
Oh my gosh,
we could.
Man. Party of 4. I mean, like a family of 4. Okay, well, what about the family of 5? What about the family of 6? How about the Duggars? They had 19 kids and counting. The Duggars.
That's true.
Where's
Why don't we have
discount?
deals for people with 19? No, coming from a family of 5, I can relate to everything that you're saying, and that was the greatest part about road trips, was seeing my dad lose his mind. Rollaway bed. There you go, Peter. Or someone's on the ground, man. I mean,
rollaway beds only work though in rooms where you are. Again, I've had this conversation.
Bring a sleeping bag.
Sleep in the car. I just chose to sleep in the car. Is what I chose to do.
Boo-hoo.
Go sit in the rented town and country out in the parking lot. And that's what you do. But no, I just it just drives me a little bit nuts. That's all. I don't understand it. But be that as it may, it's a great deal. You get a great deal. Hopefully they would honor another family member for the extra $15, right? Because that's what it is. It's $15 a person. Hopefully they will allow you to do it, because I'm assuming after 4, it gets more expensive for them. Right? That fifth person just puts it over the top. They can't do it.
Right.
Make you have to buy another 4-pack.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's how
it's $120.
Right.
My question though is the hot dog steamed? Is it boiled or is it grilled? Because I'm telling you right now, there's a big difference between the 3 of those. Big difference. Oh my gosh, yes. You telling me you can't tell between a boiled hot dog, a grilled hot dog, and a steamed hot dog?
I'm saying grilled's the best.
Oh, grilled is 100% the best.
Yeah.
But my question though is do you prefer grilled over steamed over boiled?
Grilled.
Yeah,
I love seeing the grills out and about. That's my favorite part. You know what I mean? You would talk about bringing people back. Get those big grills out and get those big plumes that just not smoke, but like, you know, everything from making it and the scent just swirling around. So that's uniquely the local team brand right there. The Smell of Dogs. The local team works with every family for specials like this. Yeah. I mean, that's the most important part. And again, it's making that place a destination, right, for the games, but also for everything else. But no, grills, 100%. Deep fried hot dogs. Goodness gracious, that wasn't one that I thought about. But you ever had a deep fried dog? JT?
I don't know how many teams are going to have that option.
Just need one deep fryer. I mean, that's, you know,
we only need one, but you know how hard it is to get one deep fryer. Kind of like, yeah, I think that's great. I've never had a deep. I may have had deep fried hot dog because aren't corn dogs technically deep fried?
Yeah, I mean breaded. Yeah, I mean, but you know, I mean that's the thing about deep fryers. Like you can just deep fry anything. Like you talk about a new food idea. It's just like, okay, deep fried pizza. Here we go.
Yeah,
like just throw it in there. You know,
I couldn't agree more.
Anyways.
But you know, again, we're talking right now about fans and how to get fans, you know, to come back to be a part of your organization, right? I also think it's important too that you don't go over the top. Right? Because there are fans that want to come to an event and they kind of want to get a feel for it and let them kind of be left alone. They want to just come on in and you know, so I think recognizing that too is really important because if they feel comfortable, they'll come back. If they feel uncomfortable and they feel overwhelmed, they won't. Right. And so finding that balance. I think the diehard soccer fan is just looking for a diehard soccer experience, and they'll come back if you give them that. But there's a bunch of fans out there that are kind of unsure. You know, it's like, again, like I compare it to walking into church on a Sunday and you're brand new, right? And what happens? Your first time here?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, first timers! We got first timers. Ring the bell. Woo! It's like, you know, oh my God, here's your welcome bag, right? Yeah. Here's this and here's that. And join join up for all of our volunteer stuff. Like, whoa.
Are you new? Do you need saving?
It's like,
yes, I do, actually.
But it's and I think that's great, but it's again understanding. I mean, the second you ask them if they're new and they're like,
yeah.
Okay, well, welcome here. If there's anything you need from us, we're here for you. You know, it's like just recognize the audience because again, they're like, oh my God, it's our first time here. We're excited to be here. Okay, then great, then bring all the stops out. But if they're like, you know, first timers,
you know,
you know, I think that's, you know, I think that's a way to you know, to recognize what is in front of you. And that will go a long way towards bringing people back. Because again, you know, if you can take, I'm not sure what attrition is or turnover is in fandom in the lower levels. Like, okay, how many people come in the gates and then come back again, right? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? I would probably argue it's probably somewhere between 10 and 30%, somewhere in that neighborhood. Right. I'm not talking about family or friends. That's a different thing. But I'm talking about a brand new person walking in. If 10 brand new people walk into your environment on a Saturday night, how many will come back again? My guess is it's between 10 and 30, right? Somewhere in that neighborhood. So 1 to 3 will come back, right? And more than likely, it's more like probably 1.5, right? And so you need to bring in 30 or 40 new people every weeknight or every game you do in order to get back 4 or 5, 6, 7 people to keep coming back, right? And then you do that enough that those 7 people will come back and come back and come back. And over time, you'll go from having 200 fans to having 300 fans because you just kept that same mindset. And to be fair, it doesn't have to come in the form of them paying.
All right.
You know what I mean? You know, it's like the old school bands would go out and walk the streets and just hand flyers out. Say, come to our show tonight. It's free. Come on in. You know, it's all about just creating a buzz. So invite as many people as you can, get them in your door, and then hit them with, hey, next time you come, here's the price of tickets. But everyone first time should not have to pay to come to these games. And to be fair, what are they paying for? Right? What are they paying for? If you're talking about going into High School Stadium USA on a Saturday night to watch Midwest Premier League soccer, UPSL soccer, okay, there's 95% of these games is not going to come with an experience. They don't have the personnel, they don't have the people, they don't have the resources. They just don't. So 5% of these teams are going to do something above and beyond. The other 95% aren't doing anything. So what are they going to pay for? Right? Just to go watch these kids play soccer or the adults play soccer. I mean, not to be disingenuous to that seems kind of absurd to me.
Right.
You know, I mean, you think about what I'm paying for. I'm forced to go watch my daughter swim and pay for her high school swimming, right? She swims varsity. I have to go watch her as a father, go watch my child at high school play sports. Same thing with my son. I have to go pay $5 to go watch him play. Seems absurd, but I don't know why I'm paying.
It's your duty. It's your responsibility. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, here's the thing.
Land.
Yes,
I understand. I understand that. I'm not saying this because I want there to be like this thing where you shouldn't be charging. I'm just saying that if you're just charging only for the price of admission and that's what you're charging for, just to come watch a soccer, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's not enough. As someone who has been a part of soccer my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, what are you getting for that $10? As Lansing Common charges $10. What are you getting for that $10? If you're just getting soccer, it's too much. You know what I mean? If you're getting soccer and, I mean, obviously access to really cool food, you know, and that in itself can be an experience. Or, hey, getting access to food trucks that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have access to, or food that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. You still have to pay for it, obviously. If you're getting access to a band, access to bounce houses and floaties and kids games, yeah. But if you're just showing up to watch a soccer game and you're paying $10, I'm sorry, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And how do you create a vibe? And at the end of the day, everything that we're talking about here is how do you create a vibe in the building? That's the part for places where it's not working. It just doesn't happen. But there's also that fine line that you have to toe too between there's a very stark difference between being hacky and being entertaining. There are some teams that take that to the opposite extreme. You know, they're almost hacky, you know, and it's almost kind of like, this is weird. The focus isn't really on the game itself. The focus is on everything else around the game. And so to that degree, I think it's important for these organizations. And again, it depends on where you are location-wise, what your personality is, who you have, who your fans are, just recognizing who your audience is. Coffee Firm says we have halftime activities, food trucks, poster signings for autograph. Yeah, I mean, that's all really good stuff. That's all little things built in and around the game that are not going to necessarily distract or take away from the game. They just accent it. But there's
we talked about this yesterday.
There.
Lansing Common has one of the best fan bases in Michigan. And I'd probably argue in the Midwest Premier League. Again, they draw between 500 and 700 people to all of their games. And, you know, at $10 a pop times 500 people, that's $5,000 that's coming in the door, right? I mean, that's a significant amount of money coming in on a Saturday night. Now, granted, they may not be selling all those. Someone say might be giveaways and things like that, but that's still a really good draw. And if you have 7 or 8 home games, you're talking about paying getting $30,000 to $35,000 coming in. You're into your budget to cover a lot of your costs. We talked about how much it costs to run these teams, and then that's not counting the quota. Now, the problem with food trucks is that I'm not sure if you're getting any money out of that. I mean, a lot of times the food trucks they have to make money, so they're going to come in, they're going to make their cut, and I don't know how that works in these environments. So maybe there's a cut that happens, but more than likely, probably not to the extent that maybe you'd want it to. Because if you're doing it yourself, making your own food, and you go to Costco and buy a bunch of supplies and charge 2 or 3 times what you paid for it, you're going to bring in a pretty good pull. In food truck land, you're not going to bring in that same pull.
Isn't there something to be said though, JT, about just getting bodies there, even if you don't necessarily pull anything from what they're making? Isn't there something to be said about just getting people to the stadium with the stuff that's around?
There is, but I mean, ultimately, what's it about though? Ultimately, you're trying to. It's dollars and cents,
right?
Everything is about the dollars and cents, because again, if we're talking about just losing money every year, you want to try to lose the least amount of money as you possibly can.
Right.
Most of these teams lose money; they're not making money. They do it because they love the game, and while we say losing money, maybe it's they're losing money out of a general fund, but they're not making money. If you're asking me if I own my own team, I would want to try to find ways to monetize everything. Everything.
Okay.
Right. I want to monetize food. I want to monetize, gear, swag. I want to monetize tickets, monetize anything I can find to monetize. I want to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Anything. Doesn't matter what it is. If I own my own team. Now, does that mean that I would do it intentionally in every environment? No, but the goal would be to do that. So again, I think of it this way. First time visitor comes in, free tickets. Come on in. Welcome in. Great. All right. What do you do when they get in? Hey, you're brand new. Your ticket's free. Hey, guess what though? We've got scarves over here. They're on sale for first time, newcomers. They're on sale normally $30. Today they're $20. Boom. They got in for free. I got their merch. Boom. Right. Then I offer them discounts on food. Right. They're gonna. Then the next time, hey, and then here's a coupon to come back and pay $5 the next time you come. Right, to the game. So $5, boom. So now they're paying $5. I'm getting them in, and I'm finding a way to build them up, right? And so the third time they come, they're paying full price, and they're not questioning it because the previous times they've gotten discounts. They feel happy. They're whatever, and we keep finding ways to keep giving them more, right? Lansing Common, the cover. What I like about the Common, that they try to make the game experience, professional atmosphere, fans and players. Not to mention solid PA announcements in game, average spots, etc. Yeah, I mean, again, Lansing Common is I would say when it comes to teams in this state that do it well. USL League 2 teams have to follow a protocol, so they're all going to for the most part, are going to kind of all follow the same kind of format. They're going to have PA announcements. They're going to have all the bells and whistles that happen before and after a game. They may or may not have the fan experience stuff, but all the professional aspects of the game will be there. I don't know if Kalamazoo and Midwest United have kind of followed those same things. I think that they will be in the years to come. In this season, Flint City Bucks, Lansing United, AFC Ann Arbor, Union FC Macomb, those they try to all do those professional environments. And you start getting the UPSL and Midwest Premier League, which, while they might be considered the same level as far as U.S. soccer is concerned, or maybe slightly variations of it, most of the Midwest Premier League teams do not do that, right? Michigan Stars do not do it, right? They don't have a PA system or announcements. You get into all the other teams. There's maybe a couple that go to the level of lengths that Lansing Common does. So Lansing Common in the Midwest Premier League is probably the gold standard, right? A fan base, they have a strong fan base. They have a professional environment. They do really good broadcasts. Still want their broadcasts on our platform, though. I'm not going to lie. Still want them on the National Soccer Network. So love to at least get the feed. Even if it means I don't have anything to do with the production aspect of it, would still love to get Lansing Common on the National Soccer Network, introduce them to our audience, which is vastly growing, by the way, right? So shouting out, again, don't want anything to do with production. We will let you produce. We just want the feed. Get it on our platform and see if we can help grow Lansing Common to a higher, to a higher level through our new platforms on Roku TVs and YouTube. With that being said, though, they are the gold standard in that league, and rightfully so. They have had a lot of success. Inter Detroit is a team that's in that league as well. They've won it over the last couple of years. Edwin Jimenez does a great job with that team, and we've covered their games in the past when they were at Gabriel Richard. I think now they're out at Waterford Mod or Waterford Kettering. But again, they try to pull off the same thing. They bring out food trucks, and their fans are growing. When you move from downriver to Waterford, you're going to find some challenges in getting your fans right to reconnect. So they have to create some new fans in that side of town. So that's something that I'm sure they're still trying to figure out how to pull that off. But it's another really good team in that mix. But yeah, I think that like anything else, Nathan, I think that it's a challenging environment nonetheless to navigate the amateur space, right? The semi-professional, the pathway to pro, as some will call it. But don't be mistaken. This is amateur soccer.
Mm-hmm.
A vast majority of these players are not being paid to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do know that in UPSL land, we do know that in some of these environments, players are in fact getting paid. It is not the norm. It is an anomaly. It is the minority. It is not the majority, right? Because they don't have the budgets. But some teams do it. There's no question that some teams do pay players to, maybe they don't pay them in the same way that you might think. Maybe they're not paying their dues. Maybe they're not paying to be there. Maybe they're getting money for a hotel, or they're getting money for travel. Who knows? But maybe they're getting a couple $100 a game. That is the thing. Mm-hmm. It does happen. But these teams are amateur-based teams,
mm-hmm.
right? So when you ask someone to come to an amateur-based environment and pay, you're asking a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Right.
And if I'm talking about the difference between walking into a minor league baseball park in Grand Rapids, Michigan, compared to walking into, whatever high school USA, there is a significant difference
mm-hmm.
to the person who's walking in the door. Right? I walk into Comerica Park and look around. It is an unbelievable sight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you ever walk into for the first time, it's the equivalent of watching Rudy's father in Rudy, right? It's like, the greatest thing these eyes have ever seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what that experience is like. And when you walk into a minor league baseball park, you can have that experience. And so you can pay $20 for a ticket and not think twice about it, because regardless of how good the baseball is, the environment, you feel like, okay, yeah, it's totally worth it. Me walking into High School USA, where you've got the bleachers and your typical track around the field, and that's not gonna. You have to do more than that, unless you're
mm-hmm.
playing at a really cool high school stadium, which those do exist. Exception, not the rule.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah, it doesn't happen all over the place. It happens for some players, but not for many. But that's the whole thing, right? Is how do you create the actual experience itself? And again, location is so big in all this. And that's what I was said yesterday about the new team coming here. Like, location wise, it's perfect. That doesn't really strike, a chord everywhere that you look around the United States. It's true. It's not every single place that you play a game is going to be the same. But, I think of, like Grand Rapids SC, they play at East Grand Rapids. That's a big, beautiful stadium. Like there are, other opportunities for these teams to, again, have a chance to really kind of, at least at the very least, dress up what it is that they do, and that's the whole thing, is how do you make it feel to the fan that they are getting this professional experience? Because I mean, all organizations really in this way should have at least the same desire to make that a priority. Now, does that mean you have the resources to make everything happen that you want to, where you can have on-field entertainers and, pay a mascot and a public address announcer and all these other things? No, maybe not. But there are little things you can do to at least make that experience better for the people that are coming, because then all of a sudden, if you're not doing all that, then you're just relying on people who know people on the team, or, maybe someone like myself who's just looking to get more play-by-play reps. So that's why I am there, and other stuff like that. But you're not going to get people who come for, again, what the biggest thing is, which drives popularity at these places, which is the experience, is the entertainment, and also is being seen as a fan. I mean, how many times do we see like fan appreciation nights and this, that, or the other thing? Like that is, if you make people seen, they're going to want to come back. That's the biggest part of it to me. Yeah, the focus is the product on the field. We have a team that's playing here. That's great. We want to go win a championship, all that. But like, you have to make people feel like they belong when they come, because then it's going to become a destination. Also, people love what their routines. Like people get into these routines and they find places and things that they love doing. Typically they stick to it. And so if you can do at least one thing to create a memory for anybody that comes inside of your doors, just one thing, you can create a loyal fan for a lifetime, right? That's the motto in a lot of different places. And it's the motto that I've been exposed to, at least from a promotional side with the places that I've worked with, is like, treat every fan like this is their first game. Treat them all. You don't have to ask them straight up, right? You don't have to go up and, like you said with the the first time at church analogy that you used earlier, don't swarm them under and make them feel like, oh boy, like, did I make a mistake here? But at the very least, treat every fan like this is their first time here. Try to make them enjoy themselves, even if it has nothing to do with the game itself, because it's funny when you see some of the people that come to these games, at least for the promotional aspects. Like, oftentimes you look down and like the people that are interacting in the crowd, a lot of them aren't even watching the game. They're watching the entertainer. They're watching someone else that you brought. I like the rock concert analogy that you used earlier. Treat them as if this is their first time here, without being, again, too overbearing. Don't cross that line over into hacky, but it's, you might not be able to do everything, but what's one little thing that you can do, at least to try to create that experience more and more to bring people back? Because you're right. I mean, even the baseball product too, JT, to be completely honest with you, I mean, there's more and more people in my life that just think it's a boring game. And I'm not going to say that it's not popular. I'm not going to say that there isn't a following, but it's certainly not as big in the United States as the other major sports. It's just not. But, the one thing that I think, even at the very lowest of levels, I'll give you the Muskegon Clippers, for example. Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League, not a big deal, right? They play in a stadium that is a glorified high school stadium. It's the oldest in the United States. But when you go there, they have $2 beers. Their public address announcer is a certified maniac. The same thing with their mascot. And it's just an overall really entertaining place to be. The baseball's not perfect, but you know what? Everything else around it is fun. And so I'll always make an excuse to go back and watch some Great Lakes Summer Collegiate Baseball for simply that fact. It's not necessarily good ball, but everything else around it, they've made entertaining. So it's just a fun place to go and watch sports. And to be honest, when I have free time in the summer, or when I'm not doing anything, or I got an empty space, which doesn't happen a whole lot, that's all I want to do. I'm just going to go watch something live at a destination, at a place. And if you can make it that destination, that is going to make the entire difference at the end of the day. But like, what's one area that you're willing to maybe give up a few dollars? What's one area that you're maybe willing to stretch a little bit more to not just get people in, but make them feel like they belong here? That's what the good ones do. That's what the good ones do. And that's what creates a buzz. It's tough to do. $2 beers. I see Harry Caray. I miss those days, Peter. Honestly, I came up in the wrong generation as a play-by-play broadcaster. I should have been around when Harry Caray was doing his thing, because then I could be drunk and shirtless and in the crowd calling the game. Which, I mean, that's liquid confidence that'll carry you through 9 innings. He didn't have the pitch clock though either, so it was a little bit of a different time back when Harry was doing his thing. But that's yeah, those were the days, the golden days.
those were the golden days, and that ends this day for us. Love how I can segue into that with the right timing.
Right.
That wraps up episode number 61 here of Inside the Game. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wenger. If you like what you're listening to or watching, hit that subscribe button, like us, share this with your friends and family. We'll continue the conversation about fans here the rest of this week. Obviously, tomorrow is the last day of the week, and we will bring you some more coverage about fans as we gear up here towards the summer. Right. So lots of games coming up here on the platform. We got a big slate of games coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. But from all of us here at the National Soccer Network and Inside the Game, have a great rest of your Thursday. Keep it thirsty. I would say keep it fresh, but we'll talk about that tomorrow on Friday. But keep it thirsty on Thirsty Thursday. A shout out to our friends at the Coffee Firm and Peter, Lansing Common, Jimmy Coe, and so many more here who have helped make our show fun and exciting in its first 61 episodes. So, but without further ado, we will see you here tomorrow, same time, same place on Inside the Game. This has been a presentation of the National Soccer Network.